T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 30 seconds. We are go for launch. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Up next, we're going to take you inside the vehicle assembly building.
We are coming to you live from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Welcome to the first ever NASA's virtual social. I'm Joshua Santora with NASA Communication, and I'm so happy that you're with us today. And I'm joined right now by my good friend Yves Lamoth. Yves, thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely. It is such a pleasure. Once again, I'm Yves Lamoth, and I am a communications project manager in the Command, Control, and Communications Office of Exploration Ground Systems. So, but we're super excited to be here to bring this to you as live, virtually, so you can experience what's going on with us processing for this Demo 2 launch. It's a historic moment, right? We are amidst launching American astronauts on American soil, something that we haven't done for 11 years?
Almost so? 9.
9 years.
Almost 9 years. Yeah, so 2011.
I'm sorry, yeah, it was 2011. So it's been quite a while, but we're so excited about being able to do that again, because that's opening that door into deep space exploration as America's, we are the leaders in space. So this is an opportunity for us to open those doors back up and lead the path for deep space exploration.
Yeah, I want to encourage folks out there to make sure you ask questions live online. Right now, we are taking questions, and we'll try and handle those as we go. But before we go too far, I want to take just a moment and pause and remember that here in America, this is Memorial Day. So a special thanks to the men and women who serve in our military, and especially those that have paid the ultimate price for our freedom and to make this great country what it is today.
Absolutely. And, I myself have served in the Marine Corps. And it is...
Yeah, thanks, Yves. Appreciate your service, man.
You bet, absolutely. And I would do it all over again. It's opportunities like this. It's people, who dedicate their lives to the being in the military and fighting for our freedom, which allows us to be able to do what we're doing right now. So it's an honor for me to have served. And thank you to all my brothers and sisters that are out there, continuing to fight for our freedom and for us to be the greatest nation that is out there on this Mother Earth.
Yeah, and want to also make sure that we point to what's over our shoulders today. Very large. This is not a backdrop. This is not a picture. That is Space Shuttle Atlantis. Yeah. So this is the last vehicle that flew Americans into space from American soil almost 9 years ago. So super excited to have the visitor complex here at the Kennedy Space Center hosting us. Thanks to them for this opportunity. Want to preview our schedule over the next 2 days with you. Right now, today, a lot of great shows here. I want to highlight specifically our 4 o'clock show. These times are all in Eastern in America. And that last show of the day will feature 2 astronauts and an NFL quarterback. A cool Q&A time with them. Q&A being a big feature of all of our programs this week. Tomorrow, starting off the day with a really big show, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine and KSC Center Director Bob Cabana will be joining us. And then later in the day at 2 o'clock, Deputy Administrator Jim Morhard will join us as well. So lots of cool people to get to talk to and ask questions of. And then the morning of launch, L-0 days to launch. That's kind of the vernacular we use here. A couple shows in the morning before we kind of lead into and hand off to the main launch broadcast, which will kick off at 12:15, and we will get to see everything from the crew suit up to their walkout to them loading up into the rocket and then ultimately blasting off to the International Space Station. So a very, very busy day ahead of us, a couple days ahead of us. We are so excited to be here finally. We've been preparing for weeks now for this, and we're going to jump in right now. The Vehicle Assembly Building, we're going to take you inside this icon of the Kennedy Space Center. Take a look.
This is the iconic 525-foot tall Vehicle Assembly Building. Every rocket that has taken a human beyond low Earth orbit into the moon has been processed and stacked inside. Right now, engineers are inside preparing NASA's Artemis program rocket, the Space Launch System. Let's go take a look inside. We've just entered the low bay of the Vehicle Assembly Building. Now, it looks pretty tall right now, but this has nothing on the high bay. This building contains 4 high bays with the world's tallest doors. Standing at about 450 feet tall, it takes about 45 minutes to get them open. And what would happen during the space shuttle program? Once the space shuttles were inside the orbiter processing facilities, they'd be processed and then moved back inside the Vehicle Assembly Building, where they would be stacked and assembled inside one of the high bays. You can see the crane system above me, where engineers would lift the parts of the shuttle and move them over into the high bays. You'll see one of the low bays, and those orange platforms, I was literally going to say stacky things, right behind me is one of the low bays, and those orange platforms were used for final checkouts of vehicles for the Apollo program. So when they would bring pieces into the Vehicle Assembly Building, they would stack them inside this low bay, make sure everything was good to go before stacking it with the rest of the rocket inside one of the high bays. So now we're going to look at this wall over here, and you'll be able to see some of the crane operations that took place in this building during the Space Shuttle program. Now, operating one of those cranes is a very specialized job. As you can imagine, space hardware is very delicate, and you have to make sure you're doing it right. So there's only a few people that are certified to operate those cranes. Just think the cranes are dope. As we keep going down the transfer aisle, you'll see this wall filled with signatures from the Space Shuttle program. So at the end of the program in 2011, every employee on center who had the opportunity to support it in any way, shape, or form can come and sign their name on this wall. We've just entered the high bay of the Vehicle Assembly Building, and High Bay 2 right here was just leased out by Northrop Grumman for their Omega rocket. Outside of these doors, they're actually modifying a mobile launch platform that was used during the shuttle era, so they can take their rocket out to launch pad 39B for launch. structure. So right there you'll see the top of the mobile launcher, and if you look down at these platforms, they may look kind of bland and boring, but they're actually pretty unique. During the Apollo and shuttle eras, the platforms would go in and out to go around the rocket and the SRBs, but these platforms can not only go in and out, they can also go up and down to support different iterations of the SLS rocket. Now looking at the mobile launcher, you might be able to see some of the umbilicals that are on the tower. So these structures actually attach themselves to the rocket, and within the hours and even sometimes seconds of liftoff, these umbilicals retract so the SLS can lift off. One of the most notable of the umbilicals is the crew access arm. So before flight, astronauts will walk across that catwalk and into the white room, where the closeout crew will do the final suit up and preparations before they strap the astronauts into the Orion capsule so they're ready for launch. Right now we're sitting on the base of the mobile launcher. Once all that rocket hardware arrives here in the Space Launch System, it's going to be stacked right behind us. It's kind of hard to imagine right now the scale of this big rocket, but starting right here, the engines are going to be stacked and the rocket's going to stand hundreds of feet upwards. Once the rocket is stacked and ready for launch, all the transporters will move under this whole platform and transport the mobile launcher and the rocket out to the launch pad. It's about a 4-mile trek out there, and it takes 8 hours. The crawler transport is traveling at a top speed of about 1 mile per hour.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that inside look at the VAB. We could probably spend hours showing you around there, and hopefully in a future NASA social, you'll get to come enjoy that with us. And Eves, I think we'll get to share some more about what he does, because it involves a lot of what we just saw, and rocket launching and mobile launchers and things. But right now, I want to introduce our special guest, Mr. Greg Hale. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so those who have been on NASA socials in the past will recognize Greg. I think you've made just about every one so far. I think probably more so than any of us working here, you've been on our NASA socials.
There's only been about 3 that I haven't done since it first started.
Okay, and we've been doing it for probably a decade or more now.
Very much, yes.
Very good. So Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we just saw the lower third there, you're retired, but continue to come back because you love to tell the story. So what did you do here for us, and what's got you excited for this mission?
I worked out here for about 25 years. Eight years of my career was spent inside the VAB working. We were the quality assurance specialist that did overseeing all the contractor work. The contractor did about 90% of the work that we did that was done out here. We were there to make sure that it was done properly and for the safety of the crew and the vehicle and everything. So that was our job. We were there. My department was out here 24/7 for 30 years. So my department was here every day, every hour of the year for 30 years.
Yeah, and what's got you excited for this particular mission, Greg, coming up here in just 2 days?
We're flying people from here back to station. It's time. We need to get our people back to flying on our vehicles rather than send it overseas. That's what excites me. I don't care how they get them up there or what rocket they use. Just bring them home. Bring them up here. Let's fly them up there.
Yeah, bring them up and bring them home. Both of
yes.
Really important. Yeah, that's good. And I think it's important to kind of key on what you just mentioned with the quality assurance aspect of being actively engaged every hour of every day. That's really different than how we're operating with this particular mission. Right now we have a partnership, a collaboration with Boeing and SpaceX as the commercial crew program, where they're the ones that own that hardware, but with Shuttle, we owned that really.
Right.
Can you talk more about kind of that relationship of how the Shuttle happened?
That was a whole different way. We owned the vehicle rather than the companies own it themselves and everything. So we had to have a little bit more insight of what was going on and everything. That was basically what was going on there. Remains to see how far we go right now. Now NASA, I understand, has stepped back quite a ways, but there is some oversight of what's going on with the vehicles out there, and it's a safety thing. There's no matter how many times you look at one piece of equipment, there's always something that's going to slide past you. So the more eyes you got on it, the better chance you are going to have a successful flight.
Sure.
Okay. So what we're going to do now, Greg, is we have in our audience watching everything we have going on. We have a few questions for you from.
I'm sure my peeps will be out there.
There you go. All right.
I've been forewarned by them.
One of the questions is, and this one might be a little hard to answer because you probably have so many of these, but the question is, what is your fondest memory of the Space Shuttle program? And this one is coming from Raj Luthra, asking us from the Kennedy Space Center. What is your fondest memory of the?
And before you answer, sorry, we're getting word that there's a lot of noise happening. It's raining here now, so a generally sunshine state. We've been told that the audio is tough to hear a little bit, so if you can just lean in a little bit there. But fondest memory of the shuttle program.
Fondest shuttle memory is it was. Every flight was fun. It was putting in the astronauts on board with the experiments and everything, and taking them back off and watching the astronauts come out with a smile on their face, like, yeah, we did it. And I wish I could have flown too, but instead of a gold watch, I was asking, can I fly one time? But it just didn't happen. So that was probably my fondest memories. The ones that, and I'll throw this in here, the ones that I really didn't like was the day we lost Columbia, and I was on the runway the last day this thing behind us flew. There wasn't a dry eye out there, including mine. It was a sad day, but it was fulfilling that what we did, we had accomplished 30 years of manned flight with minimal loss of life. So.
Understand. Now, I do want to take a moment, while today is Memorial Day, and Josh did mention that in the beginning, I also want to thank you also, Greg, for your service.
Well, thank you, sir.
You were in the Army, and
yes.
I mean, you even served in Vietnam, so thank you so much for your service, and again, allowing us to be able to do what we're doing right here, right now. I want to ask you another question from the audience here, is what advice would you have for someone who wants to work at NASA?
Wow, go to school.
Step one.
Start with that, right?
Step one, go to school. They've got a program where you can come out here and work as a co-op, or I think it's called something.
Pathways. Is what they call it now. Yeah.
Pathways. You can tell how old I am now. It was co-op before. During my career time, we did have quite a few pathway people come out here. Come out here and apply for the job, and don't take no for an answer. If you want to come out here and work for NASA, just keep applying for it. And NASA's not only here at Kennedy Space Center, there's other centers out there that you can go to work at. Depends on what you want to do, But a lot of math and a lot of science are the classes that I would highly suggest that you take, which would help you to get into the Pathways program and everything. And, it doesn't hurt to have somebody that at NASA that will go, hey, I think this person will be a very good person to come do it. So, and when you get here, just apply yourself.
So I'm going to throw another tough question for you here. Is what does this launch mean to you?
Wow, I'm ecstatic that just we're back to flying again. I mean, it's nice to see the rockets go up with payloads that are not manned, but this is a manned flight, and this is we're getting back to what NASA was designed to do, was fly man to outer space and to other planets and stuff that we want to go. And I'm just I can't wait to get back to a full-time schedule of flying like this.
So does that mean you intend to come back to work since you're retired, or?
No. My wife would kill me.
Greg Hale coming out of retirement.
Well, I had thought about it. Trust me, I had thought about it. I would love to come back, but my wife is she's next step right there. But no, she has given me a kitchen pass to do the social media, so I will stick with that. And I do like my supervisors over there.
Yeah, some ladies who will be joining us will be rotating through our hosting duties this week, so we'll get to see some of them on later. So, Greg, thinking about crew, obviously that's the big highlight of this particular mission, and you mentioned working with crews back with the shuttle program. What's that like to get to interact with and work with people that actually fly into space? Like, most everybody that works here doesn't get that opportunity.
Working with the crew it's just like, wow, you got to pinch yourself. I'm working with an astronaut. 99% of the astronauts were very nice. They wanted to learn what you were doing. And towards the end of my career, I was working in the offline labs, which is the experimental labs and everything. When we'd put these experiments together with the different companies or universities come through, then we'd bring the astronauts down from crew quarters, and we'd mask up and everything, and we'd go through the procedures of how this experiment was to work, and what not to do and what to do to maintain the safety of the crew, plus make a success of the experiment itself and everything. That was just, it was beyond me. The first time I met an astronaut, I was going, I couldn't talk. But they're just plain Joe people that just got to go fly, and there's some real fond memories of some funny ones.
So I'm going to piggytail off that question. So if you had the opportunity to go to space, would you take it?
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
I'm 71 years old. Just suit me up. Throw me in that briar patch. I'm ready to go.
Gotcha. Understand. Now, so let's kind of take it back to the VAB, a little bit. You spent so much time of your career working in the VAB. How do you see? Have you seen a transformation, so to speak, into how work is done? Technology changes. The way we process the vehicle may even change some, because we're going from obviously a shuttle to a Saturn V-like rocket.
Right.
Do you see the VAB being able to last throughout the changes and the infrastructure that we go through to?
Oh, definitely. The VAB, it's like a camellia. It just keeps changing and changing and changes as you need to. It went from the Apollo program into the shuttle program, just a little bit of a modification, a little massaging of it and everything, and it just kept right on working. One fun fact is that if you ever get to go inside the VAB, if you look up on the 16th floor and you see the opening there, well, that opening there dictated how big of a wingspan we were allowed on the orbiter. They wanted some more wingspan because it gives a little bit more glide ratio, but they went, okay, guys, you can only get something so big to slide through that opening, so you're stuck with that wing there. So that was one of that building basically helped design the shuttle program there as far as wings thing. But once it gets in there, they let it down and thing. Now the new one's coming out, the stack rocket. It's the Artemis. It'll go in just like the Apollo program thing is. But the cranes, we put new cranes in probably about halfway through the shuttle program. We added new cranes in there. The old cranes are still up there, still workable with everything, but the newer cranes can handle a higher tonnage of weight and everything. So that helps. Yes.
The wingspan and the opening is a funny topic for me. And funny maybe isn't the right word, but just interesting how decisions get made. Sometimes you think about these it has to be so highly technical of why we chose this exact size for and it was no, that was literally as big as we could make it. We couldn't make it any bigger, and that's just a practical decision-making strategy.
Right. Well, you couldn't. It would cost. You'd have to tear the building down.
Right.
To go in there and do that. Another fact on the VAB too, it was originally designed to be another 120 feet taller. Debus and von Braun had planned on a bigger rocket. So if you ever get a chance to go on top of the building there, you'll see the stub-ups up there. That was to be able to push that building another 120 feet up. And there was supposed to be 2 more high bays farther north towards where the OPFs are at now. So it's
VAB Rev 1.
Yes, it was on. And then it was supposed to be, they had really just wanted it to be like a sail, all the high bays all on one side and everything. Says no, because of the hurricanes would come through and would blow it down. So there's a lot of little neat things.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple more questions, and then I think we'll wrap up for today.
You got it. So Greg, you've met quite a few astronauts. You've worked in an iconic building. You can't find another VAB anywhere on this planet. No. So, and you've talked to us a little bit about how important this launch is to you. So, where exactly are you going to be on Wednesday for the launch?
I'll probably safely be standing in my front yard. I understand that Titusville is going to be a madhouse, and I'm only about 14 miles out the north gate, so I get a real nice view of all the launches from my front yard. So this one I think I'll sit at home not because I want to, unless I am invited out here, and I will be here. Trust me. If I have to sleep in my car, I will sleep. I will come to this,
I
this
hear
launch.
So just one last question for you, Greg. And we appreciate you coming out and doing these socials. You're such an icon yourself, being part of all of that. What would you say is your favorite NASA social memory?
My favorite.
Another tough question for you.
So you've been doing NASA socials for a decade or more now. What's your favorite memory from a NASA social? Do you have a favorite one or a favorite moment?
They're all favorite. I mean, they're always the people that come out here are so enthused, and they're just like little sponges. You know, everything that you possibly tell them and information, they just suck it up and everything. So that's.
And you know, that honestly speaks to how amazing the things that we do here really is. I mean, adult, children, I mean, people of all ages from all over the world come here just to see these amazing things that we're able to do. So
Very good.
And that's going to do it for us for this show. So Greg, appreciate you as always for your support of the NASA socials at large, and especially for joining us today. Eves, thanks for riding along with me.
Absolutely, always such a pleasure.
Must say one thing, because I always told my social media people, get off my bus.
There you go.
At the end of the tour, it was get off my bus. And if I didn't say it, they wouldn't say it. They'd just sit there and look at me. I went, get off my bus. So get off my bus.
No more fitting way to end the program. Next up is going to be the Launch Complex 39B. That is the site where we will launch humans back to the moon, coming up very shortly in just a few years. That's going to do it for us for now, and we will see you at 11 a.m. Eastern Time right back here. We'll see you.
We'll see you. Thank you, guys.